The current state of the world is pretty crazy. I feel like at the moment, um, I'm 44, so I've seen a few days on this earth, and I've seen the ebbs and flow of society. I've seen the economy in good stead. I've seen the economy in bad places, and I've seen the human race be wildly successful, and I've seen times when times have been very hard. And the older you get, the more you realize these times, and you can see that history always repeats itself, and good times don't last, and bad times don't last. Uh, we only have a short amount of time on this earth, and most of us will be 60, 70 years. Some will be higher, a lot will be a lot shorter. And it's not a lot of time. And what's interesting at the moment is the economy of the world. And it certainly feels like we're coming to a head. Like, it feels like something is going to happen in the world economy. I mean, we have house prices at all-time highs. I feel like every house is $1 million now, and everyone's okay with it. Everyone just continues and agrees and continues on. Um, I feel like every car is 100,000, and no one bats an eyelid. Everyone just pays it and wears it like a badge. Like, I paid 100 grand for my car, and that's a badge now. Um, if you would have told your parents that you're buying a $100,000 car 10 years ago, they would have thought you were insane. But here we are, and it's become the norm. $1 million for a house, 100K for a car. Everyone seems to be spending, and nothing seems to be changing. Where does all this money come from? And why does everyone feel so wealthy? And I feel like the gap between the wealthy and the poor is stretching further than it ever has. We have people living in tents because they can't find rentals, because of the state of migration in the country is bringing in so many people that there's nowhere to live. Then we have people with 100 houses, and there doesn't seem to be anything in between. The middle class, I feel, is getting pushed out because they're trying so hard to keep up, and buy that $100,000 car and $1 million house because they think that's what you're meant to do. When you don't have to, you can buy a small house and buy a $5,000 car. You don't have to have these things. They're choices that you make. And I don't think this, I think the euphoria of this has been building for a long time, and people have forgotten what pain feels like. People have forgotten what no money feels like, or losing your job and having to fund that $1 million home loan now. Um, People are thinking that the good times will last forever, but they never do. They never do. The good times will stop at some stage. The stock market's at all-time highs, property's at all-time highs, wages aren't at all-time highs, businesses are folding left, right, and center. Uh, we're seeing a big shift, and I feel like I've been thinking about this for a few years, and I thought it would have happened many years ago, but it never did. It just kept going and going. But there just has to be a limit to this. There has to be a topping point. And I feel like it's getting very close to that topping point. And people just need to be aware that these situations happen. People do lose jobs and have to sell their homes. And, it was only, what year was it? 2016, the place that I live in, there was 50 houses repossessed every week. 50 houses every week. And I bought two of them for $60,000 each. Can you believe it? Only 10 years ago. That's not a lot of time. And now a lot of houses are 4 to 500K that were only 150, 200 grand 5 years ago. And people are buying them still. It's truly phenomenal. It really is how fast everything has moved, how fast everything has doubled. So I guess the point of this is just be aware. Be aware and look back at history. Think about your worst case scenario. What would happen if you lost your job or your wife lost your job? and you needed money to survive, and that $100,000 car doesn't look so nice anymore because those payments are so high. Or could you use that, if you own that car, could you use that to pay your mortgage down? People get so caught up in what other people think and have to have more, when it really should be less. You actually need less. You don't need a lot to live. You don't need a lot. So think about where you are. Think about what the next 5 years looks like. Think about worst case scenario, and are you prepared for that? And do yourself a favor and look back at some history. Look back at 2008. Look back at 2012. Look back at these times when, house prices didn't double all the time. Some people have bought property the last 5 years, made a lot of money, and think that's going to happen all the time now. I promise you it won't. I can promise you it won't keep happening. Because at some stage it has to pull back. So don't over leverage. If you've done well, bank it, store it, get that money, continue to invest and get that money in the right positions for you and your family, because bad times happen, and the only thing you can do is be prepared, because you never know when it's going to happen.